I know. She's going to Washington. I know. You're saying.
Right.
That might be too much of a meal of it. Where she sees me.
And it's a quick transition to get from this scene to that scene so quickly, because I take your hand in the very next scene.
Right.
Killers of the Flower Moon is an extraordinary Western crime saga where real love crosses paths with unspeakable betrayal. This movie is based on a true story, and it is told through Ernest Burkhart and Molly Kyle point of view. Today we are going to look at the behind the scenes of how they managed to succeed in this film and where the inspiration to this story came from.
He was right here, right? I don't know. So where's the cameras?
The Osage were considered incompetent at that time and weren't allowed to be in charge of their own wealth. And by getting a caretaker like Ernest as her husband, they became an independent unit. They were able to take care of one another.
You see then the nerve was there, this addendum. That's we need. It's almost there. You need to tell them we believe in this.
But before we get into more of these moments, some trivia for you. How many Martin Scorsese films is Leonardo DiCaprio in? Leave your guesses in the comments down below and stick around till the end of the video to find out if your answer was correct.
The first day that I worked with him, my hands were shaking naturally because it's Leonardo DiCaprio. But after getting through those initial nerves, I was just sitting across from an incredibly present, generous, talented, immensely talented actor. And the rest of the nerves about it faded away when we were just so focused on if we were doing justice to our characters. So that was incredibly inspiring. So like I probably already kind of like it, but yeah, like I already had that one audience to see it a while ago. I'm just having fun bossing around right now.
That estate money flows the right direction, it'll come to us.
Was exploiting and manipulating them.
And if necessary, do away with them, almost as if it was for their own good.
30 years have passed since their first collaboration, in which they portrayed a stepson and stepfather in the 1993 film This Boy's Life. In Martin Scorsese's terrifying crime drama Killers of the Flower Moon, the two actors are reuniting.
There you go. Hold on. Oh, wait. 1 second. Back to one. You guys, pull me out. Let's pull me up for the photograph. Come back in. Pull me up, guys. Let's get ready. Pull me out. Yeah, come on in. There you go. Go ahead.
I got to say, in this picture, he really went pretty far and astonished me. I mean, he had his a depth, a vulnerability, again, many different layers and shades and tones to Ernest that we just developed as we went along and still amazes me.
Yeah, this is the one that's over.
This is over, yes, it's over. And what we could do is do 3 layer, 2 one, and then 2 the other, all.
I felt her at moments living as Molly. She embodied that character. She took on the soul of this woman and embraced herself into the Osage community, once again being from a different tribe, going to the Osage community, listening to that story, speaking to her direct descendants, and just embodied in every moral fiber of her being who Molly was, and expressed it through her performance in a very profound way.
Scorsese and co-writer Eric Roth create a gripping crime thriller by adapting the outstanding non-fiction book of the same name by David Grann. The story moves quickly, and somehow, 3.5 hours have passed by in an instant.
Okay.
Molly, being somebody who's described as easy to like, then in a way fatefully and in a way intentionally meets Ernest Burkhart, who is under her employ as her driver. And through one lens, you see a very organic attraction forming, and through another lens that Molly is pretty unaware of, you see a calculated arrangement happening.
I'm going to check out the cut from Molly's scene where she says, the first scene.
That then Bill could tell to you.
Yeah. Can you bring your stuff in or something?
Yeah.
I'll grab her back.
Now look, I'm going to lay this out kind of, and then we're going to move it according to the drone, the whole unit, you know?
Now, as part of a family with several valuable shares, they called it head rights, of oil profits and lots of land they had. So Ernest was, probably encouraged to marry her by his uncle in order to get her family's head rights, which gave him access to and control over her shares in the oil profits. But I think Ernest is also attracted to the Osage world in which Molly is a member. He becomes very fascinated by their culture, he even learns the language.
Now, I'm going to take the opportunity to warm up everyone. Getting in now. In a position. Get a big position. Here we go. Do the handshake now, guys. Okay, now handshake. There you go. That's it. That's it. Nice. Okay.
Before we started, I received this research packet from a Scorsese camp, and it just had basically everything you could ever want when you're building a character. He wrote a book that was really helpful, and like I said, Killers of the Flower Moon, the book went into pretty good detail about his upbringing, and so it was like everything else. It's a long process.
Action.
I told her, you do it yourself. She said, I don't want to do it myself. I said, you're going to have to.
How you doing, Mr. Hale?
William Hale, being Ernest Burkhart's uncle, is kind of a de facto father figure to a man who's returning from war, who doesn't have a whole lot of skills to offer, doesn't have prospects at much work, plants the idea of, being married to an Osage person. There's good money in that.
All right. So, okay, you be here. You'll be here. The Gov represents Mr. Hale.
Well.
Sorry to bother you. My name's Tom White. I'm the agent in charge for the Bureau of Investigation in the Justice Department.
Took you so long to get here.
And as far as the answer to our trivia question, Leonardo DiCaprio acted in 6 Martin Scorsese films, including Killers of the Flower Moon.
After having been relocated and removed from their ancestral homelands to Oklahoma, the reservation they have now, they also purchased it because they knew that was a language that the government would understand. And in doing so, they also had the keen insight to secure the surface mineral rights. So after having been in their new homelands for a pretty short amount of time, just a couple decades, then oil was struck. And overnight, it made Osage, at the time in American history, at that time in the world, the richest people per capita anywhere.
Played characters in the CIA, and I read a complete history of that a long time ago, but I didn't know about the birth of the CIA, of the FBI or anything. But growing up in Texas, I actually grew up in a town outside of Waco, and there's a Texas Ranger Hall of Fame there in my hometown, so there was something really strange about and nice about playing this character.
But we wanted to turn this around to you guys. What are your thoughts on this, and is this a kind of movie that you would be interested in seeing? Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications on for more videos just like this. That's it for today though. We'll see you all next time with a brand new video.
I just love money. I love it as much as I love my wife.